Hello there, this is John Fortin from Intercede.com, and welcome to another MyID Expresso video. And today we're going to talk about mobile authentication using your mobile device. So first of all, I'd like to show you, basically the system in action so you can get your mind around what's going on. So here we've got a video I'm going to show you, which is basically showing an iPad that has our Authenticator app installed on it. A private digital credential has been installed on it. And on the right hand side is my browser. I'm going to log on to office.com. So I'll just run that video. And there's the Authenticator app that I already installed. And we're going to go into the browser and type in office.com. And I'm going to sign on with my No More Passwords, John at No More Passwords account. And that's basically redirecting me quickly to the mobile auth service. I'm going to click on mobile auth. It's going to send a notification to the iPad. Tap on the notification, launches the app. I can then approve that login, that it was me in fact. I use my fingerprint there. And then on the other side, the browser is going to basically log me onto Office, and I'm going to be able to click on wherever I was before and resume my work. Well, that's pretty rapid fire. So the next piece, I guess, is looking at what actually went on there under the hood. So let's go through that. So the user was basically sitting in his browser, and he wants to log on to one of the many services that are available to him or her for doing their job. And in this case, we put in our email address, and that basically transferred him over to the ADFS provider that was set up for this. And the ADFS basically knows that this is a request for mobile authentication, and the connector within ADFS then talks to the MyID authentication service, and then will basically start the process of authentication into Office 365. Now, this process can be driven from as I'm showing here, from the online service through ADFS, or it can be triggered through REST APIs as well. So you can have internal applications using the same service in a very similar way. So back to where we were talking about this particular login. So what the MyID authentication service is going to do is generate a digital challenge, a random challenge that is going to then be signed by the mobile application. That's a digital signature, basically. So the mobile app receives that challenge and then asks the user to basically approve or reject. And then to unlock the private key on the device, they need to put in the PIN or the face ID or the fingerprint to unlock the private key so that the challenge can be signed and sent back. So in this case, we saw obviously the fingerprint ID. So yeah, it's signed and sent back to MyID. MyID makes sure that, of course, the private key is the same as the expected public key that we expect to see for that particular user, and then just goes back to ADFS and then lets Office 365 know that everything's okay. And of course, we then keep a record of who's done what and logged in and all the audit trail of that with the certificates involved. And that's basically what you saw there quickly, and what was going on under the cover. And what I wanted to show you next basically is how that credential got on the mobile in the first place. So let's quickly go through that. So here we've got the same situation where we've got the iPad, except this time the Authenticator app does not have the credential on it yet, so we're showing you the process of actually getting it on there. On the right hand side is our self-service request portal, basically. That basically will allow a user to collect a certificate. So the user will sign on to the self-service request portal with, in this case, we're not going to use a password. We're going to use an existing credential they may already have, like a smart card or a USB key, or some kind of other device that allows them to sign on to things digitally. So let's go through that. Let me show you that video quickly. So we're going to log on to the self-service request portal using a certificate here. We key in the PIN for the to unlock the device on the self-service request portal. It will then generate a QR code that will allow the mobile device to get a credential. So you go into the Authenticator app, you launch the Authenticator, you add a new credential, the camera comes up and you scan that QR code, and that kicks off the process of getting a new credential onto your mobile device. So here we're creating a PIN, and then the process carries on. So a public-private key is being created on the mobile device. We're then bundling that up and putting a request into MyID, which will then get passed on to the certificate authority to create a certificate to get onto the device. Once that process is complete, the CA goes back to MyID server and back to the device and installs that certificate on the iPad. So then we're ready to carry on and use that mobile now instead of using some other certificate to log on to things like Office and other things like that. And that's it basically. So that's our quick demo of how that works. And thank you very much. Look forward to seeing you on our next MyID Expresso.